Welcome to a self-published author's diary. I am Elodie Novodatsky. I write about first times, second chances, things that scare the crap out of me, and things that make me laugh out loud. I'll be speaking with you and sharing my adventures in self-publishing, the behind the scenes of writing, and the business side of it. And before we get started today, a small message from our sponsor, Anchor. Thanks for listening.
Good afternoon or good morning. I'm kind of laughing already because I almost started talking without pressing record. If you're wondering if my mind is still scrambling from all the revision and the amount of hours I've been spending with The Leftover Bride. Good thing I really love this book because this is a lot of time to spend with Sorka and Ryan and Fluffy Napoleon the dog and Tiramisu the cat and the siblings. I mean, there's just a lot of things happening. But, are you ready for this? I am almost done. By almost, I mean that I'm actually done, but I'm almost done. What do I mean by that? I have about 8 notes that I have to make sure. And one of them is make sure you can wash a shelter with Clorox, like a pet shelter with Clorox. So that is one of the things I need to make sure, because I'm talking about a smell at some point when they're at the pet shelter, and I'm mentioning that it smells like Clorox. And I'm like, can you actually wash a pet shelter with Clorox? I don't know. So I have to double check before I send it to my copy editor, and I'm very excited. I'll tell you more about the process of finding this copy editor and everything next week, I think. But right now, I'm just very excited that I found my copy editor and that it's going to her in a couple of hours. So what I'm doing right now is just polishing some of the notes I have are not like, oh, let's change the intention, or no, it's really just like, hey, just make sure Clorox can be used for that, and make sure the lists that I'm using in the 31 things to do before the 31st, make sure they're actually matching, because I'm mentioning at some point that one thing that I don't think I actually wrote in the list afterwards. So I need to make sure that those things are matching. And then I have another one that's like, make sure that the vintage idea doesn't arrive until chapter 16. That one will take me like 15 minutes to double check. So it's, it's really just the last thing. Then I want to do a little bit more of looking at the text with Pro Writing Aid before I send it off to my copy editor. So that's something else I'm going to be doing. And then it's with her. And I'm getting it back super quickly because I'm doing a rush job for that because publication date is coming up. And I need to incorporate the copy edits before I put it on Amazon. I do not recommend necessarily this method of rushing the process in terms of implementing the copy editing afterwards, because it's going to be, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a little bit stressful in terms of time. But at the same time, the book is ready. I mean, it's like right now it is ready. It's really just polishing at this stage. So it's exciting. And I never publish a book without copy editing. So this is part of the process. And I'm taking a short break right now before I'm looking at that list with fresh eyes that I want to double check with the Clorox and all that stuff. One I've already just done. I'm deleting something from my list as I'm recording. But the one thing I wanted to talk about today was how I've realized that I have a process that could work better for me in terms of writing and editing, which is writing on the couch and revising and editing on the chair, in the chair. Because when I'm writing, need to be very comfortable. I need to my back, I need to find a different chair for my office, because when I'm sitting on my chair for like long hours, my back starts hurting. I need to do chair yoga in between, which is fine. My posture needs to be better. And I also have like some discs issues, so that doesn't help. But when I'm writing, I like being on the couch. I'm also not using the best posture, but at the same time, I'm very comfortable. I feel like the words are just flowing. I think, I don't think it's like scientifically proven, but I think differently once I'm on the couch typing away. Like my brain is more in a creative mode, like gets the flow going and the story on the page. And I've noticed when I was revising at the desk at my computer I've been revising for about 6 hours a day, 6 to 7 hours a day, every day for the past couple of weeks. So that means I get at my desk at between 8 and 8:30. So before that, I eat breakfast, I checking my emails and doing some of this, still self-publishing work, and also other work that I may have around. I do that usually either right before breakfast, finish preparing lunch for my husband when I do. We did actually meal prep together on Sunday, which saved me a lot of time. So that really helped me, because then it's so much easier, and then I have my own lunch, and that's also so much faster. So I sit at my desk. I also walk the dog, usually in the morning, but right now, for example, today I haven't walked him yet, and I'm going to do that once I'm done and once I send my manuscript to my copy editor. The weather is gorgeous right now, so it's not like the timing is not as much of a problem as it was when it was super, super hot. Then I stay at the desk from like 8:30 to about 11:30, 11:45. I do take breaks here and there to do laundry and clean around, and sometimes talk to a friend, but those are short breaks. And then I eat, and then I go back at my desk, and then I work for 2 to 3 more hours, 3 hours. So that's about 6 hours. Then I do other things around the house. I talk to my parents, and then I get back on my desk and I work for another half an hour or so. So that's about 6 hours and a half. Sometimes the day starts a bit earlier, and sometimes so I start at my desk earlier, and sometimes I stay at my desk a bit longer afterwards, depending on when I have to prep dinner. And then I stop working, I prep dinner, and then depending on what time we're eating dinner, I might go back to the computer and work a bit more. But that's just on revision. So I have not done anything. I have not done any promotion except my newsletter and my blog that I do once a week. But otherwise, I haven't done like any ads right now. I haven't done anything but a Goodreads giveaway a couple of weeks ago. And that's it. Like, I haven't done anything. And this is the book that has gathered the most pre-ordered in English for me since I started. So it hasn't like broken my pre-orders that I had in French for one of my books, which is still the most pre-orders I've ever had for a book. But it has broken my record for the most pre-orders I've had in English. And this is very exciting. But again, as I was saying, when I was at the computer on my chair, revising and editing was much more productive than when I was on the computer, on the couch. So when I was on the couch, writing was much easier than when I was on the chair, sitting in the chair. Revising and editing came much easier. I don't know why. But it's like, when you're reading on different devices, sometimes the text, like you look at the text differently. Maybe it's the same when I'm working on the manuscript. I don't know. But I also am very excited to, of course, be done and like send the manuscript to my copy editor. I'm very ecstatic about that. And I also will start, so I'm going to put up the second book in the series up for pre-order for sometime late, like probably summer next year. that's what I'm going to be looking at, because I need to give myself enough time to write it, revise it, and all that stuff. And I am thinking about the ways already how I'm going to plot the next book, because I've noticed what hasn't gone. It's not that it hasn't gone right, but what has taken me longer, where I could improve in terms of plotting efficiency. I'm not a huge plotter, but this one I did plot a little bit more than I plotted other books. And yes, it took me forever to write this book, but it has nothing to do with the plotting. It has to do with the fact that A, I started after transplant. B, starting after transplant to write the way I was, and the way everything was hazy and harder. I mean, I've mentioned I could not even read like a book, or like I had to read very short text because my brain could not. Like it was just very hard. So it took a while for all of that to like get back to a more productive way of writing. And when I say it took me a while, like it didn't take me like 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Like it took me months to get back to a schedule where I could also, where I was not like super tired during the afternoon. I was also I had immunotherapy treatments until like May of that year. So I mean, it took everything. And then pandemic. And then, I mean, yeah. Long story short, it took me a while to write that book. And it is also, that just reminded me, this is the first full-length novel I've written since my transplant. Okay, I didn't know I was going to say that. It's a diary, so it's okay if there are emotions in this podcast, right? But yeah, it's the first book that I wrote. Did I write the end? Let me check. Because I did write. This book finishes with like a little bit of, not a teaser, but like what's going to happen with the next character, because I did write the end. It finishes with the end, finds out what happens with Aisling in A Town Full Of. But yeah, I wrote an entire book. It's the first book since transplant. It means so much to me. It has 82,000, like over 82,000 words. And I love it. And I am very proud of myself. And yeah, so now I have a lot of things to do too. I have to, as I said, I have to put A Town for Love, which is going to be the working title. I might still change it. I might ask in my cousin note what people think about the title, or in my newsletter. I'm not sure yet. Or I might just keep it. So that will be the next book. And then the third book will be about the runaway groom. And the book after that will be about Roisin, who is another sister, who is an app developer and is going to be on the show where the runaway groom will be also featured in, because he is the next most coveted bachelor in America. And the last book will be about the older brother, Liam, and Sokka's best friend, Sophie. So those are the books that are planned in the Swan's Cove series. Sokka's book is first, and it's second chance romance holiday rom-com. I also need to be working on bilingual books. That's actually going to take most of my time in the coming weeks. In addition, so I'm going to split my time now between the bilingual books, so like doing formatting and putting more bilingual books on the market, because as I've mentioned before, I currently make more money with the bilingual books, and I need to up my earnings. So that's a lot of things that I'm thinking about. But I am so happy about The Leftover Bride. I am so excited about the next books in the series. I can't wait to also look for a French translator, because this book will be available in French in December. And this is everything. It's just everything. And I'm already so much looking forward to like diving into Aisling's stories. I love her. I loved her in The Leftover Bride. She is a baker. She has a little girl. She does not really believe in love. So for her, it's going to be like that will be part of her arc. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. And the other book I'm also going to start working on is the Miss Me Not book, which is Nadia's stories from my Gathered City series. It has been in the back of my mind towards the end of my revision of The Leftover Bride, and I think it's ready to be plotted. And again, I used not to be a plotter, so I still have a lot to learn about plotting. If you have any resources you want to throw my way, don't hesitate to send me an email. I'm also actually going to be re-listening to some of Leslie's podcast, El Penelope's podcast, because she was talking the other day about plotting, and I need to take some notes, and I need to do a bit of like Google searches and everything. I have a lot of books on plotting. I just have to see what works best for me at this stage, and to actually put more on the paper of like doing more of an outline. I think that might help me write faster, because if I know what I'm writing, I write quickly. I can write 4 to 5,000 words a day, and then it slows down if like I get stuck, which happens. However, even with a plot, it can happen. Like if something goes awry, we know that it can happen. Like it's just something that I need to keep in mind. But at the same time, I need to remember that when I write, I seem to be more productive on the couch. And when it's time to revise and edit and do all those things, I seem to be more productive at the computer. So that's something that I need to, like at the computer in my office. So that needs to be something that I keep in mind as I plot the next novels. And I know the work on The Leftover Bride is not totally over yet. I mean, again, my copy editor will have comments that I'm going to have to incorporate, that I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to do them fast. I'm going to probably have to work more than 6-7 hours on the book per day. But that's okay. The book is done. Like it's done and it's ready, and I love it. And I don't know if you're listening, but Katie, Allison, and Sam, if you're listening, Katie and Allison are my critic partners. They're very good friends of mine. Like I'm so very lucky to also be able to call them friends, and we've met in real life, even though we actually found each other online years ago now. Years ago. But thank you so much for reading the first half to 3/4 of this book and giving me feedback that has enabled me to make this book so much stronger, and for also the chats, and whenever I had a plot question or needed brainstorming, you guys were there, and thank you so much. And to my friend Sam, who has helped me with a lot of the hockey terminology, thank you so much, because it has been, you're wonderful in a lot of other ways as well, but that has been so helpful to me, so thank you. And yeah, that makes me think I have to write my acknowledgement. That's one thing I haven't done, so that's for this weekend. While my book is with the copy editor, what I'm going to do is write my acknowledgement, put up the next book up, come up with a cover for it, but that's not like part of the main list. What's really on the main list is the acknowledgement and the back matter, and start coming up. I have ads that I have ready that I had done for the pre-order, which I only ran a couple of months ago, and it was just to gain, it was not just, but it was to gain newsletter subscribers, and I stopped running them pretty quickly, not because they were not working, but because I had changed the text and I was just too busy with the actual book to really do additional newsletter sequencing and stuff. But now this is what I'm going to do. I'm also going to revisit the ads that I have so that I can transform them for like last day to pre-order, because the pre-order is 99 cents, and then the day of release I am raising it to $3.99. So yeah, that's what's gonna happen. I'm going to work on all of that this weekend. And yeah, I hope everybody, if you are in Hurricane Ida's path, that everything is well for you. And another thing I also wanted to add is that Tuesday there will be a bonus episode, because the article that I've written for the Allman Foundation, which is called Because Sometimes You Just Need to Talk About a Dog, is available. It has been published. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to record myself reading this particular article, and I will publish it on Tuesday. That's another thing I'm going to do this weekend that is not related to the Leftover Bride or writing. I mean, it is related to writing. I did write this article, but just to share my experience with the Allman Foundation, and yeah, share a little bit of what it was like and what's some of my experience, and something that can help others, either because you're in the same boat as I was a couple of years ago, or because you know somebody who is or was in the same boat, and you're wondering what may go through their heads, knowing that it's different for everybody. And I think that's an important thing to remember. So again, thank you so much for listening and for your support. Don't forget, you can pre-order The Leftover Bride for 99 cents right now. The link is on this show's description. It will be $3.99 starting on release day. I don't know, in the morning or during the afternoon. I mean, during release day, depending on how fast the channels change the price, it might still be 99 cents for like a couple of hours. But if you want to be sure to have the special pre-order price of 99 cents, that's the moment to grab it. And yeah, thank you for listening. And don't forget to rate, subscribe, review. I'm about to make myself a hot chocolate to celebrate. I know it's not winter, but I wrote a Christmas holiday, like a holiday season book. So hot chocolate it is. And to all the writers out there, happy writing. And to everybody, happy reading.